Hello everybody. So today we're going to be talking about multiplying two expressions in algebra. So an example I've written out here is x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 6. Our first expression in this case is x plus 1 and our second expression is x plus 6. So the thing that we have to realize, we're going to multiply x by the second whole bracket and we're going to multiply 1 by the second full bracket. So we're going to rewrite this now in a way that makes that visually clear. So x is being multiplied by the second bracket and 1 is being multiplied by the second bracket. Again, x came from the first expression, 1 came from the first expression, and then we write out the whole second bracket or second expression fully twice. So let's try and multiply this out now. X times x will give us x squared. X times 6 will give us 6x. 1 times x will give us x. And 1 times 6 will give us 6. At this point here now, you've multiplied out those two brackets or expanded them. But we should be looking at, is there a way that we can simplify the expression that we're left with? And in this case there is, because we have two different terms that have an x in them. So what we're going to do is we're going to add those terms because they're like terms. So x squared is going to stay the way it is because there's no other x squared terms. 6x plus x will give us 7x. And 6 will stay the way it is also because there's no other regular terms there without an x in them, or constants as they're called. So again, what we did was we broke up the first expression or the first bracket into two different terms, so x and 1. We multiplied each one by the full second bracket. Then we multiplied them out as we've been doing there recently, and then at the end we looked if there was any way to simplify the expression by adding like terms. So our 6x and x gave us 7x. So now we'll look at a second example. In this example here, we're using a as our variable instead of x, but the method will still be exactly the same. So to make things nice and visual, I'm going to underline the first bracket in green, underline the second bracket in red. The first bracket I'm going to split up into 2a and minus 3. And I'm going to multiply each of those terms by the whole second bracket. 4a plus 5. So again, I split up the first bracket, making sure I kept that minus sign. And then I copied out the second bracket fully. So I'm going to multiply each of the outside terms by the full second bracket. Now if I start multiplying out those terms, 2a times 4a, well, number by number, 2 times 4 gives us 8. A by a gives us a squared. 2a times 5, well, we multiply the number by the number again, so we get 10, and then a stays as it is. Minus 3 times 4a will give us minus 12a, and minus 3 times plus 5, remembering a minus times a plus gives us a minus, so that'll be minus 15. Now we're in a similar position again. We have two different terms that can be added to simplify them, our 10a and our minus 12a. We only have one a squared and we only have one constant, so neither of them can be simplified anymore at this point. Again, these brackets are multiplied out fully. We're just looking for a way to simplify our answer to make it nicer for whoever's looking at it, and also I guess to get us more marks in an exam. So a squared, 10a take away 12a is going to give us minus 2a. Then minus 15 will stay the same as well. So now we'll look at a slightly more uncommon example where we have one expression in the bracket all squared. So the important thing to remember here is that something squared means it's multiplied by itself. So we're going to rewrite this out. 4a squared minus 3 But remembering that squared means multiplied by itself. So we're just going to multiply this bracket by itself. 4a squared minus 3 times 4a squared minus 3. Again, that came from our squared sign up here. Now we're going to follow this on in exactly the same way as we did the other ones. We're going to split up the first bracket into 4a squared minus 3, and then we're going to copy out the second bracket fully. So 4a squared minus 3 and 4a squared minus 3. In these ones here, it is again really important to just make sure that you've got it clear in your head what you're doing. So I think in these ones in particular, it can be really useful just to highlight or underline them to show what color is what. So again, the 4a squared here came from the first bracket, and the minus 3 here came from the first bracket. Then we've written out the second bracket in full. So now it's time to try and solve this out. So 4a squared times 4a squared. Well, the 4 times 4 gives us 16. A squared times a squared, we're going to add the power, so we get a to the power of 4. Now 4a squared times minus 3, we multiply the numbers by the numbers, and we get minus 12. And then a squared stays the same. Remember, this is a minus because we have a plus multiplied by a minus. Over here now, we look at minus 3 times 4a squared. Minus 3 times 4 is minus 12. And then a squared will stay as it is. And then minus 3 times minus 3. Minus times a minus gives us a plus. And 3 by 3 gives us 9. In this question here now, we found ourselves in a similar situation. We've multiplied all these brackets out, but we still have two like terms that can be added to simplify our answer. So our two like terms are minus 12a and minus 12a. So 16a to the power of 4 stays the same. Minus 12a minus 12a is going to give us minus 24a. The reason behind that is if you're adding or subtracting and the signs are the same, well, you just add them and keep the same sign. Or if you want to think about it like money, if you have minus 12 euro in your bank account and you take out another 12, you're going to be down to minus 24 euro. So that's minus 24a squared. And then 9 again will just stay the same because there's no like terms to add our 9 with.